What's up, all you nerds and turds? It's me, it's Steve, it's him, it's Matt, and this is Indie's Nutz Podcast, the internet's #1 gaming news review, indie gaming news reviews and previews podcast, hosted by people you don't know.
How's that mouthful of marbles?
But you know what? More people know about us because of our indie game showcase that we did last Monday. I'll tell you that much. Many more peoples know all about it. Matt, how are you?
I'm doing really good, man.
Yeah.
Aside from the bacon snafus from the pre-show, it's been a good day. Closed out a lot of cool stuff at work today, so that my week next week is going to be less stressful.
That's excellent news.
Yeah, man. I love it. How are you?
I'm good. And everybody could hear about your bacon snafu on patreon.com/dualscreens.
Go there.
You can go there, and for $3 you get pre-shows and bonus shows. And we want to thank our Patreon producers, Colton the Apprentice, Nestler, and FNH Paul. FNH Paul officially moved in, streamed not too long ago, twitch.tv/FNH Paul, friendly neighborhood Paul, that's what that means. And yeah, so go hang out, go give a follow over there, and tell him that Dual Screen sent you.
Yeah, Paul's a great guy.
Good people. What's new on dualscreens.com? We do have some things in the works. We actually possibly may have a guest article from one of our developer friends being written right now, but there's nothing brand spanking new on there right now. But we have a Dual Screens adjacent tidbit that we can talk about.
Ooh.
And that tidbit is that our very own Miss Envy is hosting the RBG after party at TwitchCon. Was chosen to be the host with the most, and we cannot be more proud of Miss Envy, our handler.
Yeah, do it, Envy.
Miss Envy. Awesome. Miss Envy's always been a very good, big supporter of this ever since she kind of bumped into us. Congratulations, and I hope this opens doors for you to do more stuff like this.
Big, awesome personality, and you're gonna show it to the whole giant world.
You know what I'm gonna show to the world?
What's that?
It's the Indie Game Adventures.
Ooh.
That's right. We've been playing some games. I see a list here, and I have 3 of them, so I guess I'll start us off with a game.
One of them I wanted to play. Your last one on this list.
Yes. Okay, and I want to start there.
Sell it to me. I'm
going to start there. Okay. So, Run Gore beginner experience, okay? Basically just means the demo. It's not the full game. It's a tutorial and 2 levels. And you unlock multiple characters as you're playing, and it kind of shows you how deep the game could be. Run Gore is an auto battler RPG card game. That sound like auto battler sounds bad, but that's not really what it is. It's just that you don't have to click to attack or block or anything. It'll automatically swipe its sword, but you are playing cards in real time to affect the battlefield. So you'll start with 2 cards, and for example, like the first one is a warrior. You'll get shields or defense boosts and attack boosts. So you'd be like, oh, this card is going to do +5 attack for 3 seconds. This card will add 2 shield per damage you do in the next 3 seconds. So you combo those cards and you fight, you do a battle, and you usually do like 3 or 4 battles, and you have a boss fight. After each battle you do, you get to pick 3 more cards from a random assortment. And you get better cards as you go through your run. The first level had two floors, so you do 1, you hit a mini boss, you kill it, then you go to the next floor, you do 3 battles, and then you get to another boss, and then you clear the level. Once I did that, I unlocked the archer, so I was like, all right, let me play the archer. Archer has like no hit points, but has a mechanic called dodge. Well, I know it sounds whatever, but it's a dodge mechanic, which you could play these cards that give you dodge for like 2 seconds, or 1 dodge for every damage you do in the next 5 seconds, or whatever. And also, the archer has poison. So you could get poison cards as well. So you could like build your little run as you're going. You're like, okay, I'm at a high poison build. And you could save your cards too. So you could be like, okay, this battle's really easy. These two guys are really easy, and the boss is coming up. So I'm going to save all of my poison for that, because poison stacks. So you could just like poison, and just drag it onto the board and like do a shit ton of damage. The game is really charming. I think that's my favorite thing about the game. I think it has a lot of work to do as far as making the cards more not, I don't want to say intuitive, but like showing the builds a little bit better. Because right now there's a lot of cards that do the same thing, and I'm not sure if that's the intent or if it's just they don't have as many cards in the game right now. But like I feel, unless you're doing the second level that you unlock and you get down to the third tier of that level, because there's 3 for that one, then you start to get really cool cards, and then the demo kind of ends. So
I bet when like in early access or whenever it releases, those interesting cards are probably buried.
Yeah,
in those further depths or however it
and
works.
Some of the cards you get are weapons, or you have three slots from what I was able to tell. You get helmet. Actually, there might be 4. You get helmet, weapon, armor, and shoes, I believe. And you could swap them out almost like Loop Hero, where like you'll get a stack of them and it'll be like, oh, these shoes give you +2 dodge every time you poison an enemy or something like that. So you'd be like, okay, yeah, I'll put that. And dodge basically is that, like, it's your defense. So you have, the archer only had 14 hit points. But if I'm stacking dodge, every time he attacks me, I will dodge as long as I have dodge stacked. And then eventually your dodge will go away and you'll start taking damage. It's the same thing with shield. Like, shield is just additional hit points that get taken away first.
Is there like mana that you use to play the cards? Or
no.
is it just like, this is my hand or this is my deck?
You could keep as many cards, like you get to pick 3 after every battle. You pick 3, you build your hand. You don't have to use the cards at all because it'll just auto attack. If it's a weak enemy, you just want to do that. But yeah, you could just play the cards at whim. But once you play a card, it goes away. And then after the battle, you get another set of, I think it's 8 cards, and you get to choose 3 of those 8. It's either 8 or 10.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, and you you just build this little run, and then you die or you win, and that's really all it is. I unlocked a 3rd character, which is interesting. I thought maybe it would only give us the 2, but I got I think it's called a log man. They're called mans. You unlocked a new mans, and it's like warrior man and archer man, and this one's log man. He's just got like a big fucking log that he carries around with him. So I'm interested to see what that one's like.
I've seen some like some screenshots and a tiny bit of gameplay from this, and just I love deck builders anyway, and I don't mind auto battlers. I don't think it's a bad thing, especially if the mechanic that they use in the game elevates the auto battler, and it sounds like they do that.
Yeah, and there's like random events that happen too. It'll be like, hey, you came across a yada yada. Do you want to sacrifice some health? But you don't know what it's going to give you. Or do you want to, I don't know, take the purse or whatever? They just like weird things like that. So like, it'll be 2 to 3 choices, and you can get a permanent little boost or whatever. You get these, I think they're called totems or idols that are permanent buffs in certain ways after you kill a boss. So I imagine like you can go on some really deep runs until you die, and you could have a cool build. After a boss battle, you get to choose from one of 3 of them. Like one of them will be a resurrect. So if you die, you resurrect with 50% hit points or something like that. So like you'll have all those things. But it's cool. It's a good mix between Rogue and Slay the Spire. I think it's like a roguelite Slay the Spire auto battler. A lot of genre.
Download the demo.
Yeah, do it. I think you'd really like it. Also, I'm still playing Coromon. I'm enjoying that game. I don't know. It's simple, but it's also kind of difficult in its own ways, and I'm having a good time with it. If you guys are into monster trainers, again, it's definitely one that you should give a try. I know our friend Envy gave it a try not a couple of days ago. It's a fun game. They do a lot of really cool mechanics in the game that I wasn't expecting. Like there was this one Coromon that's a machine, and somebody said, "Oh, I have a kernel for that machine," and he uploaded a kernel.
Oh, cool! Like a different build.
Like it evolved the Koromon.
Oh, cool.
It gave it
That's
like a
awesome.
jetpack, but then the Koromon later on stopped being able to eat berries or like eat cake. It like wouldn't eat anything. And then when it died or when it fainted, it wouldn't heal. And when I put it in the basically the equivalent of the Poke Center, put it in the machine to like heal them and then give it back, it says, "Hey, there's something wrong with your patter bite." I think it was what it's called. It's patter bit and patter bite. And the patter bite, it was like, "Yeah, there's something wrong with it. It's saying that there's pirated software." They're like, "Take it back to whoever you got the kernel from because it's pirated. It's not officially licensed." So I went back to the guy. He's like, "Oh man, yeah, I found a bug. But you know what? I'll take that off of there." So then he took it back. It de-evolved my Koromon,
Oh my god.
and he was like, "Okay, I'm only gonna sell the official stuff now. Do you want the official Patterbyte upgrade for 1,000 gold?" I'm like,
He held you ransom.
"Well, yeah, now I do." So like you made me love his cool attacks and everything for like an hour. So then yeah, he gave me the
That like
official
was that like
kernel.
an optional event that happened?
I have no clue. I just found the dude in one of the labs, and he was like, "Hey, you want to do this?" I was like, "Yeah, okay." Like I could say no,
Right.
but then I have no idea. Like I don't know if you would find an upgrade for it elsewhere throughout the game, but that was like
Right.
the first moment that I had where I could do that. The game also does this really cool forced grinding. I know that sounds stupid, but it gave me a reason to grind, and it was somebody requested two Koromon, two of the same Koromon with at least a potential of 14. So potential is how they rate the strength and rarity, basically.
Okay.
Anything between I think it's a 15 and a 20 or something like that, or 14 and a 20 is considered potent, or it's 15 and 20. Oh, whatever it is. And the highest number is 21. If you get 21, then it's perfect. And that's like the shiniest, most rare. There's less than 0.2 of a percentile to get a perfect Koromon.
Jesus
And
Christ.
there's a 2.3% chance to get a potent or something like that. I've gotten a few potents, but it gave me a reason to go in this cave and explore this cave because I was trying to find two of level 14. It made me be able to level up my team and stuff like that. So it was fun. It was a cool little a cool diversion from just doing the story.
What are you
all
playing
right.
that on right now?
I'm playing that on Steam.
Cool.
Yep, playing that on Steam. I think I also have it. I think I have a key or something somewhere for Switch as well.
I was gonna say that seems like a great like pick up and play on your Switch game.
Good thing I got that Steam Deck. You fucking
right,
dork.
right. That,
You
oh,
dork.
I hate you. I hate you so much.
All right, Isle of Arrows. Tell me about it.
Man, I have not been this obsessed with a game in a while. I would even venture to say that even like Cult of the Lamb, which is the last big indie that like I was really into, didn't even hit me like this. This has been like I think about it when I'm not playing it sometimes. And so Isle of Arrows is a roguelike tower defense game. And the way it works is you start out with this tiny little island, and it's all grid based. Obviously, it's a tower defense game, and you start off with like one little track and a little arrow tower, and every round more harder enemies come, and you have a deck of two cards that you can see, which will like a path. It could be a tower. It could be these like special buildings that will give you like buffs to your towers or get you money to buy or pass cards at the bottom. And it becomes this like really like interesting kind of like symphony of trying to balance how much money you have because you can use the money to skip cards in your deck and like get something that's more perfect. Planning your path and then getting towers. There's like different factions that you can use that all have different abilities. Like the initial faction, the Founders, every 10 rounds you get a health point back. There's the Architects so you can expand your island with flags. But the architects don't have that ability. They just get these bridges once a turn, and so you're like, you have no ground to put stuff on, and you need to use these bridges to kind of like build out, and it gets like really, really tense. But so my favorite thing about it is just like the planning aspect, and I like literally can like I'll see like, oh man, maybe if I put these two towers next to each other and then like have the buff in the middle, like it'd make that area really, really strong. Or like, oh, I was having a really tough time with. There's like another faction called the Cannoneers, and they're able to like you can just pop towers on top of other spots that are already occupied, which is just a mechanic in the game. But you get like bombs every turn with them, and it just is like this really very deceptively deep strategy game.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It sounds like a game where kids just made up rules as they were going along. Like
I feel
you know
like
what I
I'm
mean?
explaining it poorly.
No. You're not. But it feels like a game that has like it's a bunch of kids playing with toys, and they're like, "This is my castle. This is my space." It's like, okay, but my guy's coming over here. He's like, uh-oh, but I have a bridge. I have a guy that can make bridges, so I'm gonna go over the water to you. Oh yeah, well my guy could build things on your guy's territory. No, it can't. Yes, it can. That's its special ability. Oh yeah, well my special. Oh yeah, well my special abilities. I get an extra arrow. Oh yeah, well every time you don't kill my guy in your space, I get a bomb. Oh yeah, what does bombs do? It just blows up one of your buildings. It's like, oh shit, like that's what it feels like. It's like just chaos.
Like, it definitely has like a board game action figure type feel, even though like the style is like very minimalistic art. Like one of the major mechanics is that like every turn, depending on which faction you choose, you get money, and if you bank a certain amount of money, the amount of money you get every turn is increased, and so it creates this like risk reward of skipping cards or just not placing anything, because if you're constantly spending money, you're kind of like losing out on the interests that you get every turn. And you know, a lot of later rounds of the game, you're really trying to hone in your path and what tiles you have, so you're really trying to like dig deep and find the cards that you want. Also, I think it's 15 rounds, every 10 rounds, another little island and path will pop up. And so you have to manage that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like this really deep tower defense game that has literally been just something that I cannot stop thinking about. It is so good. It's like $14.99. I forget if it's an early access or not, or if it's like a full release. But it was also a game that was on our showcase, or like was in our showcase Steam sale. And yeah, I would highly suggest it if you like roguelikes, if you like tower defense games, if you like board games. It definitely has that kind of a feel. And just like if you enjoy strategy and like pathing and stuff like that, it's really good.
All right, so far we've spoken about Coromon Rungor Beginner Experience, and this one was Isle of Arrows, ISLE of Arrows. So if you're interested in picking any of those up, you can go look them up right now. And the last one that I want to talk about is a game that just came out a couple days ago, and it's Blind Fate, and former guest of the show. I believe the episode is up right now. Either that or it's going up tomorrow. I know it's like I know it's very soon. This is somebody we met at PAX East just by chance. We were just walking by their booth and struck up a conversation with the developer. This is a really fucking cool, beautifully built and thought out hack and slash sort of. It's basically a hack and slash game, side scroller, but the whole thing is that you were a demon hunter that is now dead, and you are basically a machine, but you have no senses. You only have sensors. So you lose your senses but have sensors, and you could do things via smell, your smell sensors. So you're completely blind. The world is darkness. And this AI that built you can download memories into your database of what the area looks like, but only from, I think, 350 years prior. So You can see the world, and it's only a snapshot of the world. Rain is just still. It's all frozen. It's basically a frozen image of what the world looked like 350 or however many hundred years ago it is. And you use smell, heat, and sound to see what's actually there in front of you. So like the world isn't going to show you anything unless you detect it. And once you hit an enemy, its appearance will show up, and then it'll slowly fade away if you're not attacking it. But it's a very it would be very familiar to you. It's attacking, dodging, parrying, jumping, combos, and all that stuff. And you could download like information. You're basically trying to you're piecing together these memories of the world and building a more accurate representation of what's going on around you as you're going through the levels. Cool. The boss battles are really cool. It's very like 2D Soulsian in a way. The boss battles, you have to look for patterns. They do this cool thing that once you knock their guard, one of the three sensors will show up, the little icon, and if you pick that one, you'll be able to do basically a finishing move on those enemies. So like it'll slow down time. You'll be able to like line up your shot, and then you'll just like do like a cool sword dash attack thing. The world is really, really beautiful. Like it
looks gorgeous.
I went into it and I was like, I was really expecting kind of something a little bit like, I wasn't expecting this much polish. It is, aside from like really weird transitions between scenes where it was like, oh, you probably could have spent another week on that and like just like made it a little less stilted, but it's still, but a lot of it is very well done, really well polished, fun combat. It's fun to just bounce around and see. I'm interested to see if they do a little bit of a guacamole situation where you're going to be bouncing between the sensors as you're trying to navigate the world like quickly, because there are parts where you're not going to see. For example, early on, I'm walking and I just fall through the ceiling or the floor, 2 floors, and it's like, what the hell happened? There's like, well, the real one has fallen apart, like the roof is caved in, so you don't know that, but you can now download information on the world based on what you know now, and then the real version of it will appear around you. And I'm wondering if like they're gonna play around with, I use smell and I could get here, but as I go through this one area, I have to do hearing so that I know which platform to land on. Like I don't know if they're gonna do something like that, but
I love when platformers do that, where like they really make you utilize your whole kit.
Yeah.
I absolutely love when platformers do that. This looks like, just looking at the Steam page, looks like a Mac game. Like it looks right.
It's really good, and I really believe that this is one of those games that should be getting as much praise as a game like The Messenger. Like just based on what The Messenger is. Like this game is doing some really cool stuff. So check out Blind Fate. I think it's called Ito no Yuri, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's what it said.
Yeah. Blind Fate, Ito no Yuri, I believe. All right.
Yami. Ito no
Yami. Made by Italians, by the way.
Interesting.
An Italian developer.
Good note.
An Italian and a Greek. And I know that because Andy and I are Italian, and I'm Italian, he's Greek.
I'm also Greek.
And you're a Greek. Are you is your adopted family Greek, or is your actual lineage Greek?
No. My actual lineage is Greek and French Canadian.
Whoa, French Canadian.
Yeah, I know.
That's nice. That's cool.
I don't know where they intertwixt.
Oh, the Irish. So I could tell you this. I know the answer to this.
Okay.
There were 2 routes to America in the teens.
No. It's not that long of a story. I'm pretty sure my mom was just in college in Canada.
No. This is the truth. I swear, this is the truth.
Okay.
Because my wife's family is Canadian, and they came from Ireland. And here's why. There were 2 routes to come to the Americas. One went through Canada, one went through New York. And the one that was going to New York around this time was the Titanic. And the one that, that route that the Titanic, was supposed to take. And the boat that my wife's ancestors were on was the other boat that left from
Not
at
the
that
Titanic.
time, that left from Ireland, went through Canada. So her family just wound up in Canada by chance.
Ah.
So that's kind of where her whole so that is probably, if your lineage goes back to the 19 teens, in North America, that's probably where it came from.
I don't think it does. From the little bit I understand is, after, getting a little deep into Nuff territory here.
Enough territory, bro.
After she found out she was pregnant and had me, she went back. She was like Orthodox Greek and went back home.
Opa.
To Greece, Opa.
To Greece, yeah.
And who knows where she is now. But
right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I don't think it's like
she dropped you at a French Canadian firehouse.
She was like, "Oh, I'm going to drop you at an orphanage in Boston somewhere."
Oh, it was in Boston that you were driving. That's right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, the Irish go to Boston a lot too.
Well, no way, really?
Yeah. Did you know that?
I had no idea.
They become firefighters for some reason. What is it?
Get out of here.
Bricklayers and firefighters. I don't get it. But whatever. I digress.
Let's talk about the indie. A lot of arsonists.
Let's talk about the indie steal of the week. SNKRX.
Snake RX is what this is.
Snake RX. All right.
So I was a little late on the deal this week, and so I was kind of rifling through my Steam library at games that I had purchased previously.
Oh my!
And I bought this maybe like a year and a half ago, and this is, if you mash Snake, survival arena type games and a roguelike all together into one thing. It's a very simple game. The graphics are literally just like colored dots.
It's MS Paint.
And like colored paint shaped things.
Yeah.
The music is dope. But so you start off and you're building your snake, right? You'll start off with 2 little dots or 3 little dots, depending on what's in the shop and how much money you want to spend. And every dot has a class, and those classes can also have subclasses. And so as you're building out your snake, you're trying to synergize what classes you're building.
Yeah.
And
each segment of the snake is a hero class.
Is a hero, right?
That's
so
cool.
You can have like a healer, an archer.
Like
there's like all different stuff. But then so you can have a mage, but then the mage has like different subclasses. Like one's like an enchanter that will, enchant other people's attacks so that it does like lightning damage. Or you can have a mage that does just basic like AoE attacks, or you can have a mage that's like a nuker where it does a huge AoE attack that does slightly less damage. But so you're like not only building your team, but every three segments that you buy of the same character will combine into a higher tier character,
a mega character,
and so you level up and gain different perks. And so it becomes like a really cool game of, do I need more healers right now? Should I re-roll my shop and see if I can get that like last mage to like really get all the perks for my mage? And then there are boss characters, and after every boss character, you get to pick a perk too. And the perks are like enchanters do make attacks like 6% more fast, or increase the speed of your whole snake. The other part is juggling around the characters in your snake and positioning them well. And it's just this. It's $2.99. It's a really good time, and it's simple. It's very simple. It's a game that you can throw on. You play like through a few rounds.
I got you.
And
there are 40 heroes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
12 classes, 40 passive items, 25 levels of increasing difficulty. Soundtrack is by Kubi.
Well worth listening to.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, you can do things with $2.99.
Hell yeah.
Also available on
mobile. Love that. All right, let's get into the indie news report. We have a few things to talk about here. I will get us right into it. A Videogamedunky launches new indie game publisher.
Mm-hmm.
YouTuber Videogamedunky has announced a new indie game publisher known as Big Mode, all caps. The indie scene is growing more and more in gaming, with platforms offering more visibility to creators. A lot of use of the word "more" in that sentence.
Lots of more.
I would have cut at least 2 of the 3 mores.
Yeah.
Of course, on the Xbox 360 was a whole selection of indie games. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit. To help indie game find their audience, YouTuber Jason Videogamedunky, Gastro, and his wife Leah have started an indie game publisher known as Big Mo. The aim of the publisher is to support original, fun, and quality indie games, and will be able to assist with funding, merchandising, PR, development support, and more. Oh fuck me. Okay, the website. I skipped to the next sentence and then saw bugaboos. I saw some real bad words, like real bad words in there, but I'm going to read the full sentence. The website for Big Mode also notes that it will not be assisting games that feature crypto, NFTs, or blockchain. I went to the next sentence and only saw NFTs or blockchain, and I was like, shit, what are they doing? Oh yeah, no. What are they doing?
They're doing the good.
They're doing the good kind. They're avoiding games like that. That's dope. So yeah, I mean that sounds like somebody I want to get on the show. To be honest, I want to get.
I think it's just cool that this guy built himself such a cult following on YouTube and has had such an influence, I guess, in the industry that he feels confident that he can curate and assist indie game developers. I think that's really awesome.
Hit me up, Videogamedunky.
Do it, Dunks.
You know what I mean?
He probably doesn't like to be called.
Here's another. He named himself Dunky. I would assume.
Yeah, it's fair.
He doesn't really mind.
Yo, what up, Dunks?
Here's one from Video Games Chronicle. Sony's Yoshida says indies will take the risks on PS VR 2. Quote, indies have been waiting for this next VR boom, like Mizuguchi-san. A senior PlayStation executive has suggested that indie games will be a key part of the company's strategy behind PSVR 2. Speaking at GI Live 2022 on Wednesday, attended by VGC, PlayStation head of independent developer initiative, Shuhei Yoshida, discussed the upcoming virtual reality hardware and where he thinks indie games will fit in its lineup I had to move my cursor, sorry. Fit in its lineup when it releases next year. Quote, there are big games like Horizon, Call of the Mountain, Resident Evil Village, and yes, they're amazing, but it's the indies in my mind that really take the risk because they want to make games on VR. He added, quote, indies have been waiting for this next VR boom like Mizuguchi-san, Yoshida explained, referring to Tetsuya Mizuguchi, the developer behind Rez and Tetris Effect, who had previously worked on VR projects at Sega in the 90s. In an interview with VGC earlier this year, Mizuguchi told us that he is, quote, very interested in working with Sony's new platform. The VR market is small. It's still growing thanks to Meta doing a great job promoting the Quest. So more people are coming into trying VR for the first time, but still, compared to console gaming, it's a subset and growing market. That was from Yoshida as well. So that's good stuff, man. There was a lot of really cool information about VR2. So one thing that pissed everybody off, and then the explanation was like, oh, I guess, yeah, that makes sense. Basically that it's not going to be backwards compatible with VR1, right. But it kind of obviously can't because it uses a completely different tracking system, completely different
control scheme and everything.
Yeah, it's like everything. It's not that they're just not going to be backwards compatible, but a lot of those games do exist in that form of tracking on other platforms that they'll probably just need to be officially ported over.
I just hope we don't see like the $10 PSVR 2 upgrade path thing that Sony likes to do.
I imagine it's just going to be here's an
update.
Here's an update or here's the game for PSVR 2 for $8 or whatever. I don't know. Honestly, I don't have a PSVR, so
it's definitely a little annoying. I mean, but it is what it is.
You know what it is. What it is.
I think this is really cool. I mean, I think that indie developers did kind of flock to VR anyway, and it's cool seeing Shuhei kind of get out behind them. And
that's what Shuhei's been doing the last 4 years.
Yeah, just really supporting.
It's been finding those indie devs, bringing them on board, and kind of giving them a spotlight, which is dope. That's another pie in the sky guest I would love to have on the show, just to pick his brain about.
Oh my god,
about the indie space and what the bigger companies can do outside of just having the platform for them and putting like little directs or whatever together, what other things they could do to continue to elevate them. Like personally, like I think the biggest thing missing from the biggest publishers or the platform holders are marketing dollars.
Definitely.
We see
Visibility
God
and
of
marketing
War.
dollars.
We see God of War commercials like during the Super Bowl, like that. You know, like that's the kind of shit we get. We're not saying, hey, give us Blind Fate commercial for the World Series. Like that's not what we're saying. But like, if it's a game you believe in, throw a commercial on there somewhere. Like,
Yeah.
it could be a YouTube ad, it could be a whatever. But like, these guys, I think, need to put some of that kind of push behind it. Outside of just giving them money, I think they need to say, hey, it's not just making the game and having it on our platform that matters. It's also showing people that they should play it that matters. But I digress. Anemone Hug Interactive forms the first Canadian video game union.
This is kind of cool.
This is cool. This is from gamesindustry.biz. Yeah, the Jeffrey Rousseau. It was announced that staffers at Anemone Hug Studios have become the first Canadian video games union. The successful unionization makes the group the newest member of the Canadian Animation Guild, IATSE Local 938. Quote, these workers have found a home in IATSE, and game workers across Canada should use their success as inspiration to form unions at their own workplace, said the IATSE International President Matthew D. Loeb. Quote, by working together, game workers can have more control of their working conditions and can address the issues that have been plaguing the industry for years. Big proponent of unions, especially in this type of industry. One of the things I hope happens first of all, I hope that unionization of the games industry happens. It still has a ton of time, a long way to go here in the States. It's just so much harder to get support for unionizing in this country, which is weird because we essentially invented it. On that kind of scale with workers' rights and yada yada. But it's such a fought against thing now in this country. It's so
and now it's really hard to
it's a polarized issue.
Yeah, for sure.
More so than it ever has been. But what I hope comes out of this, like first and foremost, is just a set of rules. Like, you need to have a set of guidelines to prevent abuse, not just workplace abuse, but abuse of the talent. Like, I want to give you an example of so I'm a union member. I'm a union. I'm in the Screen Actors Guild, SAG-AFTRA union. I say I still am. It expired, but I could get in. All I need to do is pay them to get back in. So whatever, I have it, and I always consider myself in the Screen Actors Guild. Sure. Plus, it's cool to say I'm in the Screen Actors Guild. My first experience on a big budget professional film was my Super Ex-Girlfriend. Terrible movie, awful movie. That was with, I believe, Uma Thurman and one of the Luke Wilson.
It was
Luke Wilson. And all I was in that film was one of the flashback high school kids. So they do like a flashback scene in the 80s, and I was just one of the high school kids that was there, like in the halls, and I was in the classroom, and then I was in the gym and whatever. I spent, I think, 2 days filming. It was insane to me to see how well a group of 40 extras were treated, to the point where we were treated better than like actual students in actual school. Like, we got structured meals. We had people with umbrellas if we had to walk outside. We had more assistants to kind of help us get us whatever we want. Like, if one of us was thirsty, like somebody got us a drink. It was like the craziest thing to me. This was like in 2005, I want to say. It was like the craziest thing to me to see that. And talent like that is very different, obviously, than, I mean, if you look at the Screen Actors Guild now, has provisions in place and rules in place for actors that are acting in video games. To give you an example, one of the guys, I knew the guy who played Nico Bellic in GTA 4, and he was only hired as a motion capture, but he was doing the lines for the character while he was doing the mocap. They loved him so much, they had him do the lines, they had him do the voice also. He didn't get paid extra.
Oh, wow.
I think he said he made like $100,000 to do the whole thing, and it was like 4.5 months of his life or something like that. Don't quote me on that 100%, but like it was something like a stupid long amount of time. The days were like 12 hours long, and he wasn't protected by the union at that time because they just weren't. He was essentially
didn't
a
exist
stuntman.
at that point, did it?
Yeah,
Right.
No, the union existed, but it wasn't a. The way the Screen Actors Guild works is like they will claim work. Like they'll say, hey, you have to use union actors for this type of project. And video games didn't fall into that project, and neither did new media for until, maybe 10 years ago. New media being YouTube, streaming, stuff like that. So like they'll say, hey, if you have a budget of fucking $50 million, you're going to pay to have professional actors be in your shit. So that's essentially what happened. So what I hope happens is that they treat these employees that make these games like they treated the union for the crew. Like when I worked in theater, like being in the union as a crew member, like you get protections and there are certain conditions you can't work in, dangerous conditions, whatever. I just hope they have a Bible that says, hey, no more than 8 hours. If you work 8 hours, it's time and a half. If you can only go up to 10 hours. If you work 10 hours, you get a mandatory this amount of time off. Like there are rules like that. Yeah. And I hope it's not just, no crunch. Like crunch isn't going anywhere.
We can do better than that.
Yeah, it could be much more synergistic between the publisher, the game developer, and the people working. It doesn't have to be them against that. It doesn't have to be an us against them. It could be hey, here's the set of ground rules. We're willing to work our dicks off within these parameters. But here's how it's going to be. Here's the minimum you could pay us. Here's, if we work a certain amount of time here, whatever, we're entitled to this. You can't fire us just for no fucking reason, just because you're in the game went gold. Like we're not contractors anymore. Like a lot of these guys used to be contractors. Now they're employees. You can't just fire us. You have to put us on a new project. We're going to see more games be made, I think, if unions happen, because they're going to have to keep these guys around. They're not going to be able to just fire them willy nilly and just, whatever as independent contractors. So I think there's going to be more and more projects, and I think the quality will go up.
Yeah. I mean, I think people who feel protected at their job, do better quality work in general. And I can't see that not being the case in that industry either.
But it's dope. And as you know, Activision Blizzard subsidiary Raven made the first union. But that's a lot of the unions that we have here are specific to publishers. Like they just unionize within the developer / publisher arm. So it's just going to be really difficult for the easiest thing we could do in the States is to wrap them all up in a union that exists already. For this type of thing, like if there's a coders union or whatever the fuck union, that's really the only, like the directors union for all of the directors in video games, they could suck them in. The artists union could be sucked up for that, that kind of thing. But
right.
There's just so many different moving pieces. Like in a movie, like I said, you have Screen Actors Guild for actors, you have the Directors Guild of America for directors, you have the Cinematographers Guild, you have the crew, like all have, some of them, the Gaffers Guild, like they all have different pieces that they kind of come from, and I think that's kind of how the games industry is going to have to go.
Yeah, probably. Yep.
If they don't keep doing it this way. We have a Kickstarter of the week. Why don't you tell us about it?
Sure. This is a game called Minigunner. I was doing my weekly surf of Kickstarter to see what was out there. And this is a tower defense meshed
you're in a
with a
tower
roguelike with a bullet heli twin stick shooter.
Oh boy. Okay.
This looks awesome. The art is really charming. It's just like a top-down, very simple top-down view of the lanes of your tower or whatnot. There seems to be like different sections of whatever mine you're in, and you can like bounce between them depending on where waves are coming from. As you progress through the game, you get money. You can spend it at shops for like upgrades to your guy, to your gun. There's all kinds of different items and different towers that you can put up to help bolster your defenses. There's multiple characters. Each character has their own gun, and then they also have like a special set of perks that can unlock only for them in shops. It just looks like a game I could spend a whole lot of time with.
Yeah, this is cool.
It looks really, really fun.
Yeah, it does. You're absolutely right. It's almost at its goal. It's got 3 days to go though. So.
Yeah, we're almost there. Definitely like, kind of has like that old school feel with the new school sheen to it.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'm gonna back it because I want to play the shit out of this game because it's like right up my alley. There's like bosses. There's all kinds of different outposts that you can go to. Bunch of different items. All that fun stuff. All the fun stuff that falls into a roguelike and tower defense game.
Heckle yeah is what I like to say about
that.
Let's see if we have any reader questions. I don't think we do. I didn't put out a call for any questions this week. Did you? I don't think so.
I did not. Any chat questions though?
Yeah, we'll kick it to the chat. Chat, if you have any questions for the show, please hit us up while we say goodbye. Yeah, so this has been a really cool week. I appreciate everybody hanging out here and listening to the show live on, or watching the show live on twitch.tv/dual-screen-streams. We do have a question in the chat. Miss Envy asks, are you excited for Slime Rancher 2? Yes.
Extremely.
Yes, I think that's a dope-ass game.
Yep, the first Slime Rancher was good.
Yeah.
I might just go download it now that it's out and start playing it immediately.
Yeah, we can talk about that next week, I guess. Hell yeah. Good vibes. Slime Rancher, good fun. You suck them slimes and you put them in a pen and you make them do things.
Yeah.
And you fucking
make them do things with each other. Sometimes they get mad at you.
Yeah. And you just ranch them.
You ranch the slimes.
Just ranching slimes.
You're just ranching all
if you want to follow us on social media, we're at dual_screens. I'm at Batchild27. Andy's at Pants Guy and Matt is at Mistah Nuff. MISTAH. Nuff. Because he's had enough of it.
Yep.
Go to patreon.com/dualscreens. Check out our website, dualscreens.com. Go on our Facebook group, facebook.com/dualscreens.com. Or our Facebook group, facebook.com being DOTCOM, by the way. That's the Facebook link. That's to our official page. Facebook group is facebook.com/groups/DS podcasts. We have a TikTok. We don't use it, but we have it.
It exists.
Because we have somebody that said they were going to make all of our TikTok stuff and then promptly made zero. Thank you, Corey. Don't ever ask me if there's something you could do ever again.
Why are you going to call him out?
I'm just going to say that. He went to the sea. He went to the ocean after.
Yeah, you can't blame him.
He was like, I'm gonna.
Decided he didn't want to do something. TikToks.
Yeah,
and he said, I'm gonna.
I'll do it when I get back. And then
yeah,
and then nobody reminded him. But TikTok.com/dualscreens, Instagram is Instagram.com/dualscreens. So yeah, you can see follow us all over there. Patreon.com/dualscreens. Do it. Join us. We're gonna have a lot of fun over there.
OnlyFans.com/dualscreens.
Only feet. Onlyfeet.com.
Only feet.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, Andy, for no showing because you suck. And as always, please be excellent to those indies. Bye.